Hi, I am Reverend Dr. Namches. In this video, we'll talk about layout systems, CSS layout systems, which includes flexbox, grid, and floats. In our previous video, we were targeting to design a web page that looks like this. And so we have succeeded to an extent. And so we are trying to lay out our web page. For example, you can see the logo seated at the top left. You can see the title of the web page or the name of the website. You can see it seated at the top right. And then you can see the navigation bars. That's the home, the about, the register, and the contact. You can see them laid out at this corner. And then you can see that this this and this makes up the header. You can see the header, the light ash background. The light ash background is the header. The header nests the logo, the web title, and the nav, that's the navigation bars. The three items are nested inside the header. So the header starts from here down to here and then across to this side and then to this side. That's the entire header of our web page. We can equally see that the opening hours is laid out at the middle here, the useful links laid out at the middle, the get in touch laid out here, and then the copyright information right here. So you can see that from this point to down to this point and then all the way to the right, to the top and back to the left is the entire footer of this web page. So this is the footer container, while this is the footer bar. You can see from this small point to this, from this up to down, this particular place is the footer bar. So the footer bar plus the footer container makes up the entire footer, makes up the entire footer. So how do we lay out our content? How do we lay out our contents? There are three ways by which we can lay out our content. As you can see on the screen, there are three ways by which we can lay out our content. There are so many ways anyway, but there are three major ways. As you can see on the screen, the first method or the first layout system is the flex box. The flex box, and then the second one is the grid, or then the third one is the float, as you can see on the screen. So in our subsequent videos, we will learn about each and every one of them. But for this particular video, we will learn about Flexbox. We'll learn how to use Flexbox to lay out our content. And now this is the root folder of our website, which we called WebX. And so for the sake of our study, we are going to copy this root folder into three. We're going to duplicate it into three so that we will use one for Flexbox, we'll use the second one for float, and we'll use the third one for grid. And so what are we going to do right now? We Control C, or we copy, and then we paste, and then we paste again. We paste again. So I think that's the second one. That's the first copy. So I'll have to align the three of them. Each of them contains the same items. So the first one, I will rename each of them. So I will rename this flex underscore website. And then I'll rename the second one float underscore website. And so I'll rename the third one grid underscore website. So it's like using three methods to achieve the same result. We are trying to use three methods to achieve the same result. So in today's video, we will learn how to use flexbox to lay out our web pages. And so I will quickly open the flex website root folder. And so we have three subfolders: CSS, images, and JS. And inside the CSS, I will open with Notepad the template.css. Okay, I will have to close the previous ones. So I minimize, and then I will come to the index.html and then open with Notepad. So I have the template.css and the index.html. So I minimize, and so I will also open the index.html. I will open with a browser, Google Chrome. Okay, so this was exactly where we stopped in our last video. So we are going to use flexbox to maintain the position of this logo at the top left. The XL library website will take it to the top right, while the home, about, register, and contact will be aligned at the middle. And so in this video, we'll make use of the flexbox in laying out our web page. And starting from the header, we'll start from the header. We'll use flexbox to lay out our web page. And so the flexbox make use of the container and the items, as you can see on the screen. And also, as you can see on the screen, the flexbox contains the container. You can see the container. The container is this box, red in color. This box, which is the header, that's the header. And then these are the items. The logo box is an item. The XL library, which is the web title, is an item. And then the nav is also. We have three items inside one container. So it's just like saying that we nested logo, XL library, and nav inside header. So header is the container containing these three items. And also from our code, we can see that the header. You can see the header, the opening tag of the header, and the closing tag of the header. And you can see that inside the header, you have the nav, you have the web title, and then you have the logo. You can see the logo, the class equal to logo, the class equal to web title, and then the nav. And so as you can see on the screen, you can see the CSS, you can see the container. This is the CSS code for styling the container. And in our own case, the container is the header element. And so you style the container element or the header, as in our own case, by this is the property display and then the value flex. Then you have justify content as a property, and then there are variations of there are so many values you can input here. We'll talk about them. And then you have the align items. You can align. There are so many values you can assign here. Then you have the flex wrap. It is either you have the wrap or the no wrap or the inverse wrap. We'll talk about these. And so this is our header, which is the container. The container containing the logo, the web title, and the nav. This header has three items: the logo, the class of logo, the class of website, and then the semantic markup nav. And so we'll quickly go to our template.css as we start the header, which is our container. So how do we begin to style the header? We simply scroll down. This is the header. And now at the header, we type display colon flex. And then the next we type justify hyphen content. And then a semicolon. But first we can simply do the flex direction, FLEX direction. The flex direction can be row, it can be column. Okay, let's try row. You can try row. You can also try column. That is, if you want these items, we have three items: the logo, the title of the website, and then the nav. If you want them to be laid out on the row means horizontally, then column means vertically. So now I have saved my work. I have clicked file and save. Then I will refresh. So as I refresh, you can see that the logo, the title of the website, and then the navigation tools are now laid out on a row. And then we can simply try column. We can try column, column, click file and save. So that's flex direction column. So we refresh. So you can see that they are aligned from top to bottom, just like it was before. And so we can equally do column reverse, reverse, and then we click file and save. Your guess is good as mine. You can see that it's column but reversed. And then we can equally do row reversed, row reverse, ROW. You can see flex direction, row reverse. And so I click file and save, and then I refresh. So when I refresh, you will see that they are arranged on a row but on a reversed direction. And so I will simply use row. I will simply use row because it suits. So I click file and save. I refresh. So my flex direction, I just choose row. And so we continue with our template.css. We have the justify content. We have so many options. We have up to 5 or 6 options for the justify content. As I just highlighted, justify content is simply another property that indicates how you justify or align the items. So we have the first option, flex start, START. Let's see how it goes. Flex start, save, and then you refresh. Wow. Okay. Flex start is just remains the same. So let's try flex end. Flex end. So you have justify content, flex end. I click file and I click save and then I refresh. So when I do flex end, it means that everything is laid, all the contents, all the items are laid towards the end of the flex, towards the end of the container. And so I will try the third one. So the third one is center. So justify content. Let's try center, CENTER. And so I click file and I click save. I refresh. So when I click center, it comes to the center. Uh, Flex start, flex end, and now center. So the fourth one is space between. So I will simply remove center and replace with between space between. I would like to have a space between the three items. So I'll click save and then I'll refresh. So you can see you can see space between each of them. You can see space. This is item 1, the logo, the title, and the nav. And so I can also try space around, AROUND, space around. I'll click file and save, and then I refresh. So you can see that there is a space here, a space here, a space here, a space here, a space all around each of the items. And then the last but not the least is space evenly. Space evenly as highlighted, space evenly. So I'll click file and save, head back to my browser and refresh. So you can see space evenly. So we simply make our choice. So for now, I will prefer to use space between because it looks like the web page we are trying to replicate. So I'll refresh, and so this little space here looks more like the web page we are trying to replicate. And so we have another property. We have another property called align items. ALIGN hyphen ITEMS, and then a semicolon. And so the values, the possible values we can assign to align items, number 1 is also flex start. Flex start. And so I click file, I click save, and then I refresh. So flex start, all things being equal, just appears the same way. And so the second option is also flex end. So I'll click file and save, and then I refresh. So you can see that at the end, just at the vertical direction from top to down, you can see that the end means from up to down. Down is the end. So you can see the difference between the flex start and the flex end. And then the third option is center, CENTER. And so I'll click file and save, and then you will see that this XL library website will come to the center. This nav will also come to the center, and this logo will come to the center. So you can see that they are aligned at the center. And then the fourth option is to stretch. STRETCH is to stretch. I'll click file and save, and then refresh. So it's just that you cannot see the borderline. Now the box now stretch from the top of this item down below. Okay, maybe if I will add borders to it, but that's not what I actually want to do now. So I will simply choose center, center. I'll simply choose align item center, click file and save. So for now we have display flex, we have flex direction row, we have justify content space between, and then we have align items center. So we have saved, and then we refresh and leave it this way. And then in addition, we add flex wrap, the flex wrap property. What does it do? For example, I would like to, this is an item. If I have up to 3 items, if I do flex wrap, it means that as these flex items are arranged at the row, that is at the horizontal version, at the horizontal axis of this container, it can spill over to the next line. So if I have up to 10 items, if I have up to 5 items, for example, item 1, item 2 will be placed here, item 3 will be placed here, item 4 will wrap over to the next line, and then item 5 just below it. So what now we see that according to the design that we are trying to copy, we have item 1 here, then we have item 2 there, and then we have item 3 wrapped below them. Just as you can see on the screen, we have item 1. Item 1 occupies like 20% of this container horizontally. And now there is a space between, just like we say, the space between, and then we have item 2. And then item 3 cannot continue here because item 3 has 100% width. So what will item 3 do? Item 3 will wrap beneath item 1 and item 2. So what it means is that you can go over to the next line. So item 1, item 2, item 3 cannot accommodate on the same line again. The same horizontal line cannot accommodate the 3 of them. So flex wrap means if the horizontal axis is filled up, please wrap over to the next line and occupy. And so that is exactly what we are going to do right now. And so I'll minimize this, and then I will open my notepad, and in addition I will type flex wrap. So it means whenever the horizontal axis can no longer contain the items, they should spill over to the next line. And now we have talked about the container. In our case, our header is the container, just like we have on, you can see the header is our container containing this item, and also containing this third item. And so we have styled the container, that's the header, is our container. Now it is now the turn of the items. It is time to style this item, to style this item, to style this item. So this item is the logo class. It has a class assigned logo. This item has a class assigned web title. And now this item is nav, a semantic markup called nav, NAV, stands for navigation. And so as we can see on the screen, you can see how to style the item. Dot means that it is a class. If it's not a class, then you remove dot. Then the item represents the name of the class, and then the curly brackets open and close. Then flex basis colon x can be any number. It can be 20%, it can be 30%, and then a semicolon. And so I will simply minimize this, and then I will open my notepad, and then the index.html, we have the logo class equal to logo, which means dot logo. So I will simply go to this place. After the header container, this is the container. I will now start styling the items. And the first item is logo dot logo. That's class of logo. So flex basis is the percentage space it will occupy horizontally. So I want the logo to occupy 20%. And then I will simply do the same. The second item is web title, class equal to web title. And so dot web title dot web title, and the flex basis, I would like it to occupy 60%. And now you can see, now the third item is not a class. The third item is the nav. It is not a div. The nav semantic markup element. So the nav, I will not put dot. I will simply write NAV because it's not a class. And then flex basis 100%. And now you can see that 20 plus 60 plus 100 is far bigger than 100%. So what it means that this and this will be on top, while this flex wrap equal to wrap, while the nav will wrap below this and this. So let me click file and save. What it means is that this will be here. This will occupy the remaining 60 or 80%. Now, because the nav can no longer accommodate on this horizontal line, the nav will wrap below them. So I will click. Wow. You can see that the nav has already gone to the next line. Home, about, register, and contact. And so we can add, we can also add at the nav, we can add the text align, center, so that it comes to the center. Also at the web title, we can align it at the center. Text align. Okay, but before we do that, I would like to add a border so that we can see the border of the nav. BORDER. We can see the boxes. 1px solid, red. And we do the same thing. We do the same thing for web title. You can see we added border at the web title, and we also added border at the nav. So let's click file and save. So we can see what we are working with. So we can see, you can see. Let's also add border to the logo. We'll remove the borders. But we just need to see what we are up to. So I will refresh. So you can see this occupies 20% of this horizontal space, while this occupies 80%, 60% of this horizontal space. This is 20%. Now in between we have 20%, and then we have 60%. And now you can see for the nav, just like we have on our, you can see the nav has flex basis of 100%. So this is the nav. You can see it occupies 100%. So I just added this border so that it will help us to see what we are working with. And now I will have to align this at the center and align this at the center. So let's align the web title at the center. Text align, CENTER. Text align center. We click file and save. And then you will see that this will align at the center. You can see text align center. Remember, this is 60% of this horizontal axis. And then we'll also align this at the center. So we do the same for nav. Okay. Text align center. We click file and save and then refresh. So we now have this on the left, this at the center, this at the center. So I believe that our web page is beginning to take the required shape. And so according to this picture, this is what we are trying to copy. You can see that this has a dark ash background. You can see it has a dark ash background. So I'll minimize it. So I'll add a dark ash background at the nav. And so I'll simply do that by coming to the nav, and then I will type a background color. Background color 333, and then I'll click file and save, and then I refresh. So you can see the dark ash color on the nav. And so we will try to add some padding top, padding bottom, padding left, padding right will simply represent with one single padding. So we go to template.css and then we go to nav and then we add a padding of, I don't know if that's too big, padding of 20px, and then I click file and save. I refresh. Padding of 20px, that seems too big, and then I'll reduce it to 10px. I click file. Okay, I will scroll down. I click file and save, and then I refresh. Okay, that looks better with a padding of 10px. And so we will have to style the menu. That's the home, the about, the register, and the contact. First of all, we need to remove the underline, and then we will make the font color to be white, and then we also add a padding of 10px so that they will space out a little. Okay, and so I'll simply, now this is nav. This is nav, and inside nav you have the anchor tag. So I would go to the index.html. This is nav. Inside the nav you have the anchor tag, so nav a. Both of them are not classes. This is nav, and this is a. And so I'll go to the template.css and then I will style nav a. And so nav a, I will do a padding. But first of all, I will do a text decoration. text decoration of none. So I'll save and refresh. Text decoration of none. And now you can see that the underlines have been removed. Other options for text decoration is underline, is to strike through, and the rest. And then I will change the color to white. Color white is FFF. And then I will save and refresh. Oh yeah. And then I can simply add a padding of 10px all around. Padding of 10px all around the anchor tags, and then I refresh, and you can see that they are now well spaced out. Maybe I could try 15px and see if it looks better. I'll try 15px. So we refresh, and so that looks better. That looks better. But I would like this XL library website to shift a little more to the right. So I can simply do that by editing the flex basis. This flex basis is 60%. From here to here is 60%. I can reduce it to 40%. And the moment I reduce it to 40%, because this text align is center, it will automatically shift like this. Because 40% will be from here to here, from here to here. And then because 40% is here from here, the text align center will adjust to here. So I will simply go to the class of web title and reduce the flex basis. So that's it. This is the class of web title, and the flex basis is 60%. I will simply reduce it to 40, 45. So let's try 40%, and then I save, and then I refresh. Oh yeah. So you can see that the X library website shifted a little towards the right. So it's better off. And so there was something I actually did in with images with this logo. And so I added the width and the height inside the index.html. I would prefer to do that inside the template.css. So this is .logo and this is img. So I will simply create a new styling under .logo. So .logo, then I'll give a space, img. That's I am styling the image that is nested inside the logo class. So, and then I will simply do width, width, width of 100%, 100px, and then height of 80px. And so I will also add object fit. Object fit, and then the value is cover. The object fit scales the image to cover the entire 100px by 80px. So this logo will cover the entire 80px by 100px. So I will click file and save. But before then, I will go to the index.html and delete this. because I wouldn't want to be doing it outside CSS. So you can see header, class, logo, and images where I uploaded the logo. So I will delete the width and the height simply because I have done it in the template.css. So at CSS, you specify the class where the image is and then the image. But if you did not nest the img inside the logo class, then here you don't need to put .logo. You just put img. You just put img. But because you nested img inside .logo class, so you need to put logo, then a space, and then img. So I will click File and Save, and then refresh. All right. Okay, that was not the spelling of height. Height. So that's the correct spelling of height. File and save, and then I refresh. So you would notice that the height reduced to 80 px, while the width remains 100 px. And so we head to the footer section. Remember, from here to the phone number, from here to here is the footer container, while this is the footer bar. This section is the footer bar. Then the footer bar plus the footer container makes up the entire footer. And now I will begin with styling, with laying out these contents. I would want the opening hours to come to this side, the useful link to come to this side, the get in touch to get below, and then I would want to have a different background color at the footer bar. And so I will simply go to the template.css. First of all, I will check from index.html to see the names I used. So I actually used footer, and then I have styled footer. Okay, I have styled footer. So I need to style the next. This is footer. So we have the footer container. So at the footer container, we will, okay, and footer container is a class, so it should be dot footer container. Maybe I should copy this and paste. Okay, dot footer container, brackets open and close. So the footer container display flex direction row. Okay, let's try that, and then we refresh. So you can see that we now have it's flexed like this. Yes, the flex direction is row. So flex means arrange, layout properly. And then after the flex direction, we try the justify content. Justify content. Let's use what we used before at the header, space between. So we click file and save, and then refresh. So we have equal spaces between them. And so we have the logo X. This is the logo X. The link X. This is the logo X. The link X and the contact X. So the logo X. This is the logo X, the link X, the contact S classes. This class is called logo X. This class is called link X. This class is called contact S, just as we have on our index.html, the logo X class, the link X class, which starts from here to here, and then the contact X class. And then in our template.css, okay, we have the three of them inside as the items. We have these three items inside this class footer container. And now in the footer container, we have displayed flex. And we can also add align items, just like we did at the header. Align items, center. So let's click file and save, and then refresh. So you can see from top to bottom, they are aligned at the center. From top to bottom, align at the center. From top to bottom, align at the center. Or maybe we should do align items, flex start. I think that should make more sense. Flex start, file and save. So it can start from the top to the bottom. Flex start. So it starts from the top to the bottom, top to the bottom, top to the bottom. And then we also do flex wrap, so that whatever does not enter at the first line will roll over to the next line. Flex wrap, which is wrap. So I will click file and save and refresh. So it is still accommodated on the first line. So we have to go to the individual items. We have to go to the individual. We have three items here. We have to go to the individual items and then do a flex basis and add percentages. Add percentages to them. So this is the first item, logo X, the second item, link X, and contact X. So I will simply come here and type flex basis. Maybe I should give it 40%. And then I'll come to the link X, flex basis. I'll simply also give it 40%. And then the same thing goes to contact S, flex basis, 40%. Or maybe this should be bigger, 60%, because I made it 60% because I would want the write-up to remain like this. So I'll click file and save, and then I'll head back to my browser and refresh. And so you would see that this is now arranged like this, and this is arranged like this, and this is arranged like this. I can reduce this from 60% to rather the same 40%, maybe to the same 40%. It will still make sense. And then I refresh. Okay, so you can see that this is arranged here, this is arranged here, this is arranged here. I can reduce them to 35% ish. 35, 35%, 35%, and then I save. I just want this to shift to the left a little. That was why I just want this to shift to the left a little, because it is aligned at the center. So you can see it just went to the left a little. And so I would want to remove these borders. They don't look nice. But before I reduce, let me just remove the borders. You can see the border 1px solid white, I'll remove it. 1px solid white, I'll remove it. 1px solid white, I'll remove it. And then I'll click File and Save, and then head back to my browser and refresh. So you can see that the white borders are no longer there. I will still remove these red borders. Doesn't make any sense. And then I also remove this green border. Doesn't make any sense. So I will simply remove the list, these bullets, remove the underline. All right. And so to remove this is links. This class is links, Linkx class. So I will look for it, and then I will remove the bullets, the unnumbered list. So this is it. So this is it. This is links. And then under class links, you have the unnumbered list, UL. So I will have to go to links. Under links, I will have to dot link. I'll give a space, UL. So what this simply means is that I want to style an unordered list that is inside the class, that is nested inside the links class. So I will simply type list style none, and then I click File and Save and refresh. And then when I refresh, the list style is no longer there. And so I would want to, this is anchor A, anchor A. So let me trace it in my index.html. This is anchor A, 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 A. And this A is nested inside Li, which is nested inside UL, which is nested inside class links. You can see H3 is independent on its own. It's not nesting any other element. So inside class links, you have UL, which is here. Inside class links, you have UL, which is here. Inside UL, you have Li, and inside Li, you have A. So I will just trace it like that. So inside dot links, you have UL. Inside UL, you have Li. Inside Li, you have A, and then the brackets. So I am trying to style A. So I will simply say text decoration none, and then I will click File and Save. Head back to my browser and refresh. So you will see that the underline has been removed under Home, About, Register, Contact. And next, I would like to create a space here. I would like to style the footer bar, this footer bar that has the copyright information section. This footer bar, I would like to style it, and then I will look for the footer bar. This is the footer bar. This is the footer bar class, footer bar. So I will look for it. I think I have done something on footer bar before. This is footer. Okay, I have not actually done anything on footer bar before. I've not actually styled it before. So I will simply come under, this is footer container. So footer bar, because it is a class, I added dot footer bar because it is a class. So I will simply open the brackets, and then let me simply add a border and see how where it extends to. I will still remove the border, but I just want to add it for now temporarily. So I'll click file and save and then refresh. So you can see a white, you can see how where, so I have seen where my footer bar extends to. I would like to add a margin to the top, a margin to the top, yes, and probably a margin below. So a margin at the top and below. I wouldn't want to add another margin to the left and the right. So I will show you how to do that, and then I will go back to my footer bar. I will add a background color. I want it to look different from the other footer section. Background color, maybe I will do 444 and see how it looks like. 444 should be a light ash. Okay, maybe I should remove the white border to see actually have a good feel of it. Okay, it looks quite a bit different. Okay, maybe I should do FO and compare the both. FO, that's a light ash, a very light ash. And then I save, I refresh. Oh, okay, that looks good, but okay, I have to undo, click file and save. I can simply leave it like this and make my color to be black. I will undo it, and then you can see there's a slight difference in the color. And then I can add a margin top. I can add a margin, MARGIN. If I do something like this, 20px. What it simply means is that the left and the right should be 0, while the top and the bottom should be 20px. So don't add margin to the left and the right, but add margin 20px to the top and bottom. So let me check. Click file and save and refresh. Oh, I must have made a mistake. Footer bar. Okay, I see where my mistake is from. So I actually would have put 20 here and then 0 to the side. So this means top, bottom, left, right. Top, bottom. So maybe I should make it 50 so that it will be very visible before I can now change it back to 20. This represents top, margin bottom, while this represents margin left and margin right. So that's a shorthand. So I'll refresh. And when I refresh, you will notice that a margin of 50px added here and a margin of 50px also added here. So I will simply reduce it to 20px and then I'll save and refresh. All right, I think it's smaller now. A margin of 20px. So I can equally add a padding of 20px up and down, padding top and padding bottom. I can simply type padding 20px. That's padding top and padding bottom 20px, padding left and padding right 0px. I'll simply click File and Save, and then I refresh. So I can see that it makes more sense. That's 20px. I can reduce it to 15px. Can reduce it to 15px, and then I refresh. I think it makes more sense. 15px. Okay, so I already have what I like. So I will go ahead and remove this border from the logo, this red 1px solid red border. I'll remove it from the logo. So this is my dot logo. So I will have to remove this border. And then I will also have to remove the border from nav, the red border, remove it from nav. It doesn't look nice. It looks childish. So I will simply remove it. And then I'll click File and Save. And I refresh. So now that I refresh, you would see that the border has been removed. The red border has been removed. This is still there. The green border at the main is still there. I'll remove this. I will leave this because I will still style the main. Maybe after styling the main, I will now remove this border. So there is no other border. For now, I will remove this. This should be web title. So this is the web title. This is the web title. I'll then remove the border. I'll click File and Save. And then I refresh. So this is exactly what I was looking for. That's exactly the website I actually tried to copy. I think I copied it very well. And so finally, what happens when I hover at each of these navigation links? That's exactly what I want to do, and I'll come to the end of this video. What happens when I hover at them? So I'll simply go to my template.css, and then this is my nav A. So I will simply type nav A colon hover, and then I can do background color. I can still do a lighter ash, 444, just like the same color I used at the footer bar. So I'll click File and Save, and then I refresh. So when I hover, you can see what is happening. When I hover I can simply make it lighter if I want. I can do FO. I'll click File and Save. I refresh. So when I hover, oh, I don't like this. I don't think I like this. I should take it back to 444, and then I'll click File and Save, and then I refresh. So when I hover, when I hover, when I hover, when I hover. And so in our next video, we will learn how to make our website responsive to a mobile phone. So if I view this website on a mobile phone, how will it look like? I wouldn't want it to look like this. It won't have to make sense if it looks like this. I would like the flex direction to be column rather than row. So in our next video, we are going to see that. So, but currently this is how it will look like on a mobile phone. You can see this is the size of a mobile phone. This is the size of a mobile phone. Wow, it actually looks nice. This is how it will look like on a mobile phone, just almost the same way it looks like. You can see that welcome to X library database. Database now came down, and then you can see that the home about that it almost looks alike. Almost looks alike. I think that's a nice design. That's a nice design. All right, thank you for your time in this class. I would please ask you to click the subscribe button so as to receive updates on our new videos. Thank you once more. I am Reverend Dr. Namches. Remain blessed.